Okay, this is lesson 4.3 notes on solving two-step equations. To solve two-step equations, we have to undo whatever is happening to the variable x. So in question 1a, we have negative 3x plus 5 equals 2. So x is being multiplied by negative 3 and 5 is being added to it. With our steps, the first thing we want to do is to simplify if there's any like terms that we can combine on either side. Step 2 would be to undo addition or subtraction. Whatever is happening to x, we do the opposite. And step 3 is to multiply or divide. And in the case if we have a fraction coefficient of x, we are going to multiply by the reciprocal in order to get 1 times x at the end there. So we have negative 3x plus 5 equals 2. There's nothing to simplify or combine any like terms. So we're done with step 1. We're going to do the opposite of adding 5 to get rid of it. So that would be to subtract 5 on both sides, keeping our equal sign lined up. Plus 5 and minus 5 are a zero pair. So they cancel out because they add up to 0. And we bring down our negative 3x. Over to the right, we have 2 minus 5, which is negative 3. And now we have multiply or divide. X is being multiplied by negative 3. So the opposite would be to divide out that negative 3. So negative 3 divided by itself is 1, and 1 times x is x. Again, over here, negative 3 divided by negative 3 is positive 1. So our answer is x equals 1. Again, we can Boolean check that on our calculator. Remember that we do 1 storage into x and enter. And that gives us our solution into our computer, our calculator. And then we will type out our original equation. Remember to get the equal sign. It's second math, enter. And Boolean, if you get a 1, that means you are correct. If you get a 0, that means you are incorrect. So we're looking for a result of 1. Okay, so for all of these, I'm just going to work them out. Obviously, you have your calculators to Boolean check these. Looking at part B, we have 4t minus 7 equals negative 15. So to undo a subtraction problem, we're going to add 7 to both sides. That's going to give us our 0 pair here. Negative 7 plus 7 is 0. So now we just have the 4t. Negative 15 plus 7 is negative 8. And now we're undoing a multiplication of 4. So we're going to divide out the 4, both sides. And t equals negative 2. Okay, you can go ahead and pause this video and try the next 3 questions, and then come back to check your work with me. All right, welcome back. Let's take a look here. For number 1, you should have subtracted 12 from both sides as your step 1. So we get 2x equals negative 8, and then divide both sides by 2, and x equals negative 4. For number 3, we're going to subtract 9 from both sides first. So we get negative 5c equals negative 16 minus 9 is altogether negative 25. We're going to divide out that negative 5 on both sides. Negative 5 divided by itself is 1, and 1 times c is c. And negative 25 divided by negative 5 is positive 5. Okay, number 3, we have x on this side of the equation. So we're going to do undo whatever's happening to x here. We have it multiplying by 3 and a subtraction of 12. Starting with adding and subtracting, we're going to add 12 to both sides. Lining up that equal sign, minus 12 and plus 12 are a 0 pair. Bringing down our 3x on this side, keeping our work lined up. And 9 plus 12 is 21. Okay, to undo for this, we have 3x's equals 21. So we want to solve for 1x. 3 divided by 3 is 1. So we get 1 times x, which is x, and 21 divided by 3, which is 7. So x equals 7. All right, sometimes we have two-step equations involving fractions. Remember, for fractions, you can press your second y equals button to put in a numerator over denominator. So our first step here is we have x divided by 8 and then subtracting 1/2. So to undo a subtraction of 1/2, we would have to add 1/2, or negative 1/2 plus 1/2 is 0. Okay, so we got our 0 pair there. Now we have x divided by 8 equals negative 7/2 minus 1/2 is negative 6/2, which if you simplify that, it works out to be negative 3. And then to undo division, we do the opposite, which is to multiply. So we're going to multiply both sides here by 8. And if we put 8 over a 1 here on this side, you can see that with cross canceling, you're getting 1s for 1 times x. And negative 3 times 8 is negative 24. Okay, for part B, we have n divided by 9 plus 2/3 equals negative 2/3. So we're going to subtract 2/3 on both sides. And we get n divided by 9. Now we have negative 2/3 minus 2/3. That's going to be altogether negative 4/3. Negative plus negative is more negative. To undo a division of 9, we're going to multiply both sides by 9. So here we get 1n, which is just n equals, and then typing this out on our calculator, negative 4/3 of 9. Negative times positive is negative, and if you work that out, it works out to be n equals negative 12. Again, we can pause this video and have you try the next 3 questions and then come back to check your work. Okay, welcome back. Continuing with solving two-step equations, we're going to be subtracting 6 here on both sides because m is being added to 6. That's our 0 pair. We have m divided by 2 equals 10 minus 6 is 4. To undo a division of 2, we're going to multiply both sides by 2. And we get m equals 8. Okay, for number 5, we're going to subtract 5 from both sides first. Always do your adding and subtracting. And we have x over, we have a negative here. I'm going to put the negative in the new denominator because that's the number I want to undo. And then that way I have x by itself. 9 minus 5 is 4. So to undo a negative division of negative 3, I'm going to multiply both sides by a negative 3. And that way I get my cross-canceling here of 1s. And 1 times x is x. And 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Okay, over to number 6. We have 4a plus 2/5. This is plus this amount. There's no negative sign in there. So to get rid of the 2/5 positive, I'm going to subtract 2/5 or add negative 2/5 to both sides to get that 0 pair. So those cancel out for 0, and I have 4a equals negative 6/5 minus 2/5 is negative 8/5. And then negative 8/5, we're going to have to, we have 4a, so we're going to be dividing by 4 here, which means we're going to take this whole fraction and divide it by 4. So you can either put it in parentheses or make sure that you're using alpha y equals. And then we have a equals negative 2/5. Okay, let's turn it over to the back. On the back we have, it says combining like terms before solving. So this time we do have to clean it up before we solve. In A here we have 3y minus 5y equals 25. So we're going to do the 3y minus 8y for negative 5y equals 25. And then once we've simplified, we don't have any addition work or subtraction work, so we're going right into the opposite of multiplying negative 5, which is to divide it out. And we get y equals negative 5. Okay, in part B, we have 1/4 W minus 1/2 W. So we're going to be doing 1/4 minus 1/2. So -6 equals 1/4 minus 1/2 is the same thing as, we're going to have a negative here because we have more negatives. So remember, different signs subtract, and 1/2 minus 1/4 is 1/4. So we're going to have negative 1/4 W. Again, you could do your 1/4 minus your 1/2 on your calculator to get negative 1/4. And then to undo a negative 1/4, we have to multiply by the reciprocal of 4 over -1. So I'm going to have to do that over here on this side too. 4 times a -1, which is essentially just multiplying by -4. Okay, so that's how we're going to get these ones here when we cross out our common factors. We have 1 times W for W. That's why we multiply by the reciprocal. And then -4. This is just -4, really. -4 over 1 is just 4 with a negative sign on it. So -4 times -6 is going to give us positive 24. So W equals positive 24. Okay, you can pause and do the next 3 problems and then come right back. Okay, looking at number 7, we have -2y by itself here, but we have a 4 plus 3, which is altogether plus 7 equals -9. Then we're going to have to subtract 7 on both sides, and we get -2y equals -16. Divide both sides by a -2, and y equals positive 8. Running out of a little bit of space there, but we got it. Okay, 7x minus 10x is -3x equals 15. Divide both sides by the -3, and we get x equals -5. And for number 9, we have -8 equals 1.3 minus 2.1 is going to give us a -0.8 m. So we're going to divide both sides by the -0.8. And of course, you can use your calculators here. Any number divided by itself is 1. 1 times m is m. -8 divided by -0.8 is positive 10. Okay, and lastly, we have a word problem. You install 500 feet of invisible fencing along the perimeter of a rectangular yard. The width of the yard is 100 feet. What is the length of the yard? Okay, so let's review. Maybe draw a picture here of a rectangle. So we are told that the width is 100, and we don't know the length, but the total is P is 500 feet. So all the way around is 500 feet. And we're trying to find out what the length is. So using our formula for perimeter, we know perimeter is 2 lengths plus 2 widths. And all we're going to do is plug in for the values that we do know into this equation. So P, the total perimeter, is 500, equals the 2 lengths, which we don't know what they are. So we're going to leave the 2L, plus 2 times 100 for our width. Okay, continuing with this pattern, we're going to have 500 equals 2L plus 2 times 100 is 200. We're going to subtract 200 from both sides using our steps here. So the 2 lengths together, 500 minus 200 is 300. So to find out each length, we're going to divide by 2. And L equals 150. So the length is 150 feet is our answer. Okay, number 10, we have a gym charges $8.75 for each swimming class. There's a key hint there with each class. And a one-time registration fee of $12.50. A student paid a total of $56.25. How many swim classes did the student take? So it is $808.75 per class. So we can use C for class, plus the one-time fee of $12.50 just to register. And our total equals $56.25. So the first thing we can do is subtract the fee, the one-time fee, and then we have $875 per class is equal to, if we subtract here, we're going to get 43.75. So we're going to just divide that by 8.75. And now we know that each class is 5. So 5 classes were purchased.